to the question of lack of proper sanitation and hygiene. That is just the truth. Because these diseases are both carried by vectors. A vector is an organism that helps in the transmission of a disease to the host. Now, the rat, you just made mention, for example, now, is a vector that carries that virus that causes the Lassa fever disease. Somebody that carries that, that keeps his own very, very clean, you find out that rats, for example, is an enemy of cleanliness. Rat cannot thrive where you don't have junks, where you don't have disused materials, where you don't have remains. When there is proper cleanliness of the home and the environment, a rat cannot thrive there. And if a rat cannot thrive in that environment, how will it get contact to your food? How will it get contact to your water? How will you get contact to your gari or any of these things that the rat will defecate on or ingest on, vomit on? Then you now from there ingest, that is eat that particular food that contains the virus. Anything microbes, whether virus, bacteria, fungus, all these microorganisms that causes all these diseases, ordinarily they can't just come to meet you direct. They need a vehicle, and it is all these rats. For that of cholera, flies, they are the ones that help to convey them to meet you. And you can't see them with your physical eyes. That is the most difficult thing. If you can see them with your physical eye, you will say that, this gari contains a virus that will cause me Lassa fever. Because for that, I will not eat it. So anytime you see the issue of Lassa fever, cholera, dysentery, all of this, malaria, all these things, even malaria that become an endemic in our environment, all of them are the same answer: poor sanitation and hygiene. So what he has said, that it is common with the downtrodden, that is the truth. Was it actually break out in this state and in Nigeria?
Yes, in 2019.
You know that thing came from a passenger.
Yes.
That boarded an aircraft. Now we see this Lassa fever rats that causes that carries, that help to convey rat. I've forgotten the particular species now. You find out that it was in that aircraft that it was in, and affected whatever food the man ate, and that was what now made it to have a free etiquette to Nigeria and started affecting people. My sister is laughing. So on a serious note, if we can have standard environmental sanitation and hygiene as we speak in Delta State, there won't be cholera, there will be Lassa fever. The same thing with cholera. Thank God the one of Delta State was very mild.
Yes.
Was very mild, not that there was no loss of life.
There was.
There were few loss of life. So one life alone, it doesn't make it, it's a major thing. If you lost one life for a preventable disease, these are diseases that are preventable.
It's a state matter.
Preventable by the fact that not having a conducive environment for these vectors to thrive. Thank God for the one of Delta State, but you find out that the one in Lagos was colossal.
Even till now.
There was a colossal damage, and all of them are bred to contamination with a fecal matter that contains the same bacteria that causes this particular disease called cholera.
Somebody who has Lassa fever bleeds uncontrollably. Bleeds from the mouth, the nose, they sometimes bleed into the brain, and that's usually what causes the death and all that. It's a viral hemorrhagic fever, and it is caused by the Lassa virus. Now he mentioned 1969. That was the first time it was recorded in Nigeria, Borno State, a village, the Lassa village in Borno State. A white nurse was was from her that they first of all brought out that organism to show and all that. So Lassa has been in Nigeria since then. Lassa has been in Nigeria since then. It comes seasonally.
Okay.
And there are states in this country where it's endemic and high. Areas like Edo State, that's the northern Ishan area of Edo State.
Yes.
Some areas in Ondo State, in Ebonyi State, and then you also have in Plateau North, and then of course.
What are the environments that attracts this in? Would you say some areas?
If you
what are those things that
more,
attracts?
it's more about the season, right?
Okay.
What we found out
season,
is that the vector, that Madame mentioned, the animal that carries it is what we call the mastomate, is a multi-mammate rat. That is a rat that has burning breasts, that kind of rat there. Now, these rats usually don't live in the house. It is a kind of bush rat.
Okay.
So, but during the season of famine, when there's bush burning, and when there is flooding, they usually run out of the bush into people's houses.
Okay.
So, yes, so if you look at around us here, during bush burning, just before famine starts, there's an upsurge in Lassa fever, showing that this is that season where a lot of rats come out of the bush and they enter the home. And when they enter the home, they could actually directly harm people, walk on, pee on their body. They could enter food stuff like gari, pee on the gari, and do their poo-poo, rats, dropping, and all that. If you go to the market sometimes, you see some gari that has those droppings.
Yes.
And sometimes, if there's just the urine, you won't see it. And so what do we do with gari? We soak it with cold water and drink it like that. And then all of that. So that, and sometimes people also eat the rat.
Yes.
So if you catch it and you are killing it and you are messing up with the blood and the virus in the blood, in that process somebody can also get infected. So, and for cholera, it's so related to the environment, because like Madame said, cholera is the Vibrio cholera, which is the organism that causes cholera, is found in the vomitors or the stool of people who has it. And all of these things, both the Lassa and cholera, they have what we call asymptomatic carriers. Those people have the organism in their body, but they are not sick. So when they use somebody who is an asymptomatic, maybe inside the river, and passes through there, and then the river flows upstream, and somebody else, collects water there to drink, and all that. In some camp very close by, and this thing sipping like this,
or sumo,
or sumo. So a place like this now, like the picture where wash their clothes there, somebody can even take part of the water or wash your hand, and all of that, contaminates, and then it passes from one person to the other. So that is the much. As more questions come, we'll be able to.
Okay. So, Adeni, looking at it quite, is there any way contact this kind of disease?
All right, thank you very much. Let me start from the Lassa fever, which is the first area of concentration. Is this? First of all, what inside your house is to ensure that every consumable in your house is well covered and protected. Every consumable, when I mean every consumable, even your Lipton tea, everything that you take in should be well protected. Either it's going to pass through cooking process, protect it well. If it's going to pass through normal process, protect it well. Starting from inside the house, protect your consumable items first. Then you now move into clean environment. Ensure you don't have an environment that has clusters of things that you don't need, like what Madame said. Things you don't need, dispose them. Leave a house that has space. Your compound, I mean your apartment where you stay, there should be space so that air can move in. There can be navigation. If you see anything moves, you can easily access them. Gone are those days when our parents will put 1960 pot for their children to come and see. The wrapper they bought that year, everybody is keeping artifact in their house so that their children will come and see. Gone are those days. Because these are the things, when you keep them, not only rats, snakes can hide there, scorpions can, so many things. Because you're already preparing a breeding place for them. So ensure that you disengage your house from anything that can breed any of such reptiles, even cockroach.
Yeah.
It is the dirtiness of an environment that brings in cockroach. Mosquito is as a result of cluster dirty water and everything. So first of all, inwardly, you need to make your house free and accessible and all consumable covered. Then when you now move outside your house, your environment, ensure there are no weeds, ensure there are no gathering of waste, ensure there are no environment where water can store.
Okay.
Even if there is, when you come out, if rain falls, see how you can bail it out. Ensure your environment is always what? Dry. Because like she said, it's seasonal. I discovered that during this wet season is when people fall sick.
Yes.
People don't fall
Seriously.
sick during dry season. Wet season comes with so many things. Cough, catarrh, this, that, this. So wet season is a season where everybody needs to be conscious of themselves. Running nose, getting flu, it's all wet season. So in this kind of seasonal period, everybody should be enlightened that when it comes to wet season like this, what am I supposed to do? Those things now will prevent measures like this Lassa fever. And like she also said, it is high because I went to Ekpoma University.
Okay.
It was rampant there. God save people like us who graduated from there.
Wow.
Because our gari, we buy it from the market. Sometimes
And they will spread
they
it
will
on the
spread
road.
it outside.
Outside,
Yes.
Spread it on the
And when
road.
like what Madam said, that time when we buy gari, we will see poo inside. We'll use our hand to remove it. We don't see the wee. She said it. It's only
Even though you remove it like that, the
Thank you.
deposit has already.
has entered. Sometimes when we come, we will see a particular portion of the gari has caked as if they made it. We'll use hand to pack that place because it has cake.
Yes.
We know that something has entered, but we were ignorant. We know this one where this part of the gari don't strong. So it be like say something don't piece for you, or rats don't enter your lizard, or a water has dropped there. We will not use hand to remove that particular dirty. Not the kill African man. Disease not the kill African man. We remove it. And a lot of my student mates there, a lot of them had this virus in them. And that was where we even discovered that Professor Agbonlao, who is one of the senior microbiologists, I don't know how you call them, who had a lab, took it upon himself because he was the VC of Edo State University then. He had to build a lab to ensure, because of the rampantness of that virus in Ekpoma, he had to go build a lab in Benin at Upper Mission area so that they can test for this lab. Do you know tomorrow as I talk to you, I think she's here, she works with Center for Disease Control. A definite treatment for Lassa fever has not been identified.
It's virus now. Once it's virus.
Do you understand? A
treatment.
definite one has not been given out.
Symptoms manifest.
United Nations, the WHO, they've not ascertained any kind of treatment for Lassa fever.
But we have an antiviral agent. that is
So you understand? So
effective.
that's for the Lassa fever.
That's
Like this rainy
vaccination
season. You understand? So for this rainy season, like you said, bush burning and every other thing, ensure your environment is clean. Have closed, tight doors. Close tight doors. Ensure that your doors, no entrance. All those corners, no loopholes for anything to come to. Especially like me now, as an environmentalist, before I enter my house, the first thing I do is I look around. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I look around if any cripple or anything has moved around, because I try as much as possible to set my house in case anything comes in. There will be a shift. I'll say, no, not be like this. I keep this thing. Something has moved it. I try as much, because, like she said, you can't be, I don't have CCTV in my house now. Do you understand? So that's for the Lassa fever. Then when it comes to that of the cholera, please, what we need to do first of all is to live an hygiene life. Try and live clean. before you eat anything, wash them very well, even your hands. We're talking about hand washing. It was when what is that?
Coronavirus.
Corona came out. When it came out, everybody went into the habit of hand washing. Since then, nobody washes hand again.
No.
Even
it's not as common.
It's not as common.
No.
Even as I talk to you, we are supposed to have. You see this sanitizer. Government is supposed to give it to people for free.
Even the ones we bought before.
Till tomorrow.
Are you still using it?
No, what I'm trying to say is that, see, you know why we're not using it, sir? It's because there is no proper sensitization. If there is continuous sensitization, you see this, what's it called, sanitizer, government should do it and share for people. When you start seeing it, the consciousness will come, you have in your pocket. It's because there is no proper sensitization. That is why the consciousness of these things are still striving. So when it comes to cholera, sir, we just need to ensure we keep our environment, we live an hygiene life. Then before you eat anything, wash well. Cook your food to the barest minimum density for it. Then when you go out to eat, ensure, tell people, please, can you clean that well? Because it's for your health. When it happens, that woman or whoever, but it will not come and join you bear the pain. So when you go out, till tomorrow, since the outbreak of this cholera now that came out high, I try as much as possible to tomorrow. When I go out to eat, because we are men, we go out, so we must eat. I tell them, please, can you please clean that plate for me once again, please? Oga, I beg, and I beg, I did. They will clean it for me. The spoon, I'll say, give me. On my own, I'll wash the spoon again myself. Use serviette, still clean it. You see why the Western world, they don't get these things. When they finish washing their plate, they still take a dry rag to clean the plates, to keep it, because this virus, like the vector carrier for that of cholera, which is fly, their poop or anything cannot retain on a dry surface. Okay. They retain more on a wet surface. So when you poop on a wet surface, it blends with it. But if it's a dry surface, when it drops, you will see a sign of it there. So that's why they keep their things very neat. So that's for cholera. We should try as much as possible, live an hygiene life. Wash whatever you want to eat, tidy your house well. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Sawaro. Madam Esther, we look at you now as a local woman because you work with the downtrodden and the grassroots. So, talking about sensitization, what have you been, your people have been putting in place, to ensure that at least, because as we are discussing here, yes, we are sensitizing people, but you who are very close to the people, what have you been doing at least to let them know of what we are discussing here?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
No, that is why the motto of our profession is prevention is better and cheaper. It's not just better. It's better and cheaper than cure.
Okay.
And then our slogan, a Latin word, says sanitas sanitatum omnia sanitas. Yeah. The health of one man is the health of all.
Okay.
If one person is healthy,
say it again.
The health, okay, sanita sanitatum. That's how we used to greet ourselves. Then the other person will not reply. Omnia sanitas. Okay. It means that the health of one is the health of all.
Okay.
Now, since this is our slogan and our greeting,
yes,
this is what we used to work every day. You see, it is very painful and a personal defeat for one to suffer for a disease that is preventable.
Okay.
If it is not communicable or hereditary or any of these diseases that you don't have control over, or sicknesses like accident, that one is understandable. But you see the disease that if you are careful, you can be able to protect yourself and your hard-earned money in this time that we are now for you to eat is a project.
The project
to feed yourself and your family for now is a project. The way we normally have project, where I say I'm doing a beauty project, I have a vehicle project, I'm trying to save for a business. That is how feeding now is a project. In this time that feeding is a project, you will be doing yourself a disservice for you to avail yourself to suffer any of these diseases that habitual preventive measures will safeguard you for. So this is what we do. Okay. We go to houses, to facilities. Some people will say, what is your business? How this set officer, what is your business? Is it not my house? What is your business? Whether my place is grassy or not. You leave me alone. It's me. I say, no. If it affects you indirectly, somehow, it will affect me because we are interconnected.
Yes, okay.
So we enlighten people and we equally force people. That is why we take people to court in your own compound. In your own compound that your septic tank, your soakaway pit is filled up. We take you to court. Okay. Because we give you time to do it, educate you that this one that you do now, this one that is discharging like this, if rain falls now,
go to the public.
It will go to the public. It will enter our sumo. Yes. Underground water. Yes. We percolate. And then people will be drinking water that is infected unknowingly. Yeah. The thing is glistening like this, but put a slide of it in a slide of and put it under a microscope. Then you will know that what you are drinking is microorganisms. So it is the duty of the health officer. We go about telling people just that the numbers are dwindling, going down. Like I asked somebody that if 10 of us enter this DBS road now, and two people branch inside one compound, you will not know that they are in this place because it's like a drop that is put in an ocean of water. Yeah. Not to talk of those 10 people are the ones maybe covering the whole of Asaba. So you see the challenge. So health education is a matter. And that's why we thank DBS as well. Yeah. We appreciate DBS a lot because this is creating a lot of awareness. It's going far and it's going wide. Yeah. It's a good thing. So we are here again enlightening you. If you don't trust the source of your water, the simplest form of treating your water is boiling. The organism that causes cholera, for example, and you see when Doc was talking about the Lassa fever, defecating in our gari or urinating on it, we do not know. We take on it, pack in our mouth, you eat it raw, you carry cold water and soak it, and then you drink. But if you use boiled water to make that eba, for example, the organism cannot survive.
That was how we managed.
The organism cannot survive. So that is why boiling of your water, allow it to cool down before you drink, is also a very good source of treating our water and ensuring that your water is safe. Particularly those that are using surface water. You use surface water for your domestic and for your drinking. Ensure proper boiling of the water. It's simplest. It's simplest. It will go a long way to helping you. I don't need to underscore the issue of refuse. Refuse is one place that is a very fertile ground, both for rats and for flies.
Yes.
That's why we are begging our state government, give us a functional dump site. So that this heap of refuse, somebody is telling me, you people are not working, what are you people doing? Everywhere is data, so you don't understand. The dirtiness of Asaba, most of the time is not toilet. Most households have toilets. We have grown so much that hardly you will find a premises in this Asaba that do not have a toilet. That is your water closet is common. But you see the problem of Asaba, it is refuse. Okay. If there is mechanism on ground that PSP are cutting away everyday refuse, both from eateries, hotels, premises, that is residential, schools, there is facility that is making them to cut away refuse on a regular basis. You will find out that Asaba is clean. So you find out that heap of refuse are in compound, and you go to meet there that accumulation of refuse. He say, look my receipt, oh, they are not coming to pack my refuse, oh, PSP are not coming, oh. And then you call PSP. PSP say that it's not our fault, oh. Each time we go to the dump site, our vehicle breaks down. Some of the time, we carry refuse 3 days, it's still in the truck.
Yes.
And that is a fact.
Wow. Yes.
Wow. Yes.
I've investigated that.
And that is the fact, because the vehicle cannot access the place to the dump site. And then the dump site we are talking about, the neighbors in that place, those places, they are vulnerable to these vectors we are talking about, because go form of segregation, incineration, compulsion, or sanitary landfill. This different form of waste management that is going on in the site. What are they doing? They just push. So all the flies, all the rats, they are there. And flies from those places can fly all the way to DBS and come and infect your food that you eat in the eatery here. So let our government give us a functional dump site where there is a measure of recycling and waste management happening there with good access road. And what shall others about will not be a clean place if every compound is being, their refuse is being carted away. So that is just it. We go about enlightening people, enforcing the law, and as much as possible, also pleading with government, writing in most cases that we need to talk. These are what should be done to ensure that we have a good environment that will eliminate or reduce drastically all of these vectors that are bringing us diseases that ordinarily should not be affecting us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam Esther. And our doctor, can you tell us some of the things you have done so far with your area of specialization that have also affected the people, or prevented, or helped people to know, or to educate people on how to handle these issues when it occurs?
From the Federal Medical Center, Asaba, and specifically from Center for Disease Control, you know, we have a functional isolation ward. So anybody that has Lassa fever in Delta State, the place to treat the person is at the isolation ward in FMC. Because you don't treat Lassa fever in the main with other people because of the likelihood of infecting other people.
But if, for example, they are bringing the patient, how would they know that it's a Lassa fever in order for them to alert you to
Delta State government have done a lot of training.
Okay.
And what we tell people is, if you have fever and you are treated for malaria at home, don't continue. If it continues after 3 days, 4 days, please go to the hospital. When you get to the hospital, the doctors and every fever is continue and there is high enough, you know, is suspicious, is Lassa until proven otherwise. So what doctors will do or nurses will do is they will always refer to us, and then we take the sample and we go and test. Before we used to go all the way to Irua to test, but now the FMC Asaba is have everything, and soon we will take over all the testing, even from people around us, not just from Delta State. So diagnosis is the thing. The main problem we have with Lassa is that people treat themselves at home. Sometimes 1 week, 2 weeks, they have gone to different chemists, bought different drugs. By the time they come, when they now see blood coming out of their body, then they now start running. And at that time, it's already an advanced disease. This year, we have had somebody who came with his kidney already shut down. He has been sick, managing himself. They were actually treating in one of our central hospitals somewhere. around, and then the kidney shut down, and then the doctor just felt, oh, this is no longer malaria, it's more than malaria, and they sent to us, and we tested, and it was Lassa. And it can happen to a child, it can happen to an adult, and all that. So what the message for people is that Lassa is not something you can treat at home. And same as cholera. The thing about cholera, especially for children, is children from the age of 2 years above. The problem is that cholera makes you lose a lot of fluid and salt and electrolytes, what we call electrolytes. So you lose a lot of them, as the diarrhea is high volume, very high volume. So it will just be pouring, it's pouring. And it comes from the inside the body.
Okay.
You see, it's not like it's the one you drank inside your stomach. No, the virus, it's like a suction pump. It opens the pump in the intestine. So all the water from inside the person's blood is what the person is vomiting and is stooling. And if you don't quickly replace those fluid and electrolytes, the person will die, not of cholera, but of dehydration.
Okay.
So that's why once somebody is stooling, you try to manage this. It's not. Please, first of all, go and get an ORS. Make it, the sachet, make it, and let the person be drinking, or even Sprite, add a little salt, or just anything, just be drinking, and then be rushing to the hospital so that they will put a line. Somebody with cholera might be talking with you. In another 10 minutes, the person has gone into shock. And then when they go into shock, you cannot find the vein to even put on the line again. And before that is usually what causes it. But if you get to the hospital, the doctor will put on a line for you. And it doesn't matter the amount of fluid you lose. They will keep replacing it
while managing the stooling until it will run its course. Because really, there is no treatment, there's no medicine that actually destroys the cholera germ. So those are the medical aspects. Don't do those things. And once somebody starts stooling, do your ORS. But please take the person to the hospital, especially if the stooling is high volume and is already making the person very weak. So if the person is not able to drink, then it's already a problem. So take the person to the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ade, I want to look at, because there is what Madam Esther just mentioned about the state government providing the dump sites, a real dump site. Does it mean that you people who are professional in evacuation of or managing waste in this state, you have not been discussing with the government, the state government?
Okay, thank you very much. My joy is that I like the question you asked.
Yeah.
But maybe you just, I know you've been as an environmental consultant that you are in this area, because in this area, this is you. You've always been environmentally concerned, and that is why you handle this program. And there's nothing concerning the environment that you are not abreast about it. Yeah. You've known how we've been fighting this issue since 2020 coming down. Yeah. Is when we've been fighting this issue, that even last year we had to shut down and do a protest, which you are aware of. Last year we had to do a protest, and the protest was to call the attention of the government. You see the dump site. You know, one thing I say about Nigeria is that we don't put our attention to projects that are profiting to the populace. We only put our attention to projects that are profiting to the elites and to the politicians. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
As I talk to you now, the house of the governor or the house of a political elite will be given so much attention. You know why? Because when he shouts, it becomes a matter of state of the nation. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But when somebody like me and you give out shout, your neighbor will even tell you, say, why you dey shout? You don't know, say they disturb me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
No, now, in this area that you're talking about now, we've been singing, we've been talking that we should upgrade our level of waste management in Delta State. We have the finance. We have the finance, and we have the partners in Delta State. We have the partners in Delta State. Do you understand?
Mountain.
We have the partners in Delta State.
Okay.
Virtually all the oil companies in Nigeria are in Delta State. And these people are, so one of their CSR, community social responsibility, or company social responsibility, in their SDGs, social development goals, it is to support the government in areas like this. But do you know what government does? They tell them to leave that CSR or social responsibility and convert it to something else that will benefit them directly and not to the public.
Wow.
This dump site issue you're talking about, we have, look at them. We have partners, we have people that can partner to ensure that we have a workable dump site and a modernized way of waste collection and disposal. Let me tell you, see, you call it what? PSP, private sector participant. As I talk to you, the only area government is participating with the PSP is to provide this dump site that is not properly well managed and enforcement, which is not even well enforced. And but when you want to enforce something, sensitization should be 101% before you do enforcement. It is when your sensitization is 101% that you can do proper enforcement. Even the sensitization is less than 50%, but enforcement is there. So when we say partnership, the government should come to us. We've been having meetings, stakeholders meeting with you. We've been talking online, but one thing I know is that government always shy away from where they want to put in money. They're always satisfied in where they want to get money. This is a project that is money making for other countries. It's a money-making machine. When you put in garbage garbage out. Waste business is garbage in, garbage out. See our trucks. Our trucks are being spoiled every day, or they are reducing value every day because of the kind of dump sites that we have. That we carry refuse for 3 days, and you know the damage of these things to our vehicles, to the leaches and the melters. So they lose value. We have talked to government. This is a partnership thing. Government can also come outside the dump site. Government can come up with schemes. Okay, let's improve your vehicles. Let's improve your vehicles. This government has bought taxi for people that did not add value to people. Are you not in this state when they had Udraga bus, Udraga taxi? Or what value was it to people? Not that they even reduced the fare of the transportation. They flood it everywhere. But this one, if the environment is not, if there's an outbreak now through this measure, the governor will run away from here. He will not be safe because it is airborne. I be not go breathe again. He not go come out. Would he be working with masks? He won't be working with masks now, oxygen masks. So this issue is a matter of concern to everybody. We should call for a stakeholders meeting. We've been advocating for it. But unfortunately, when they call for stakeholder meeting, they remove we that are technocrat. What makes a person technocrat? It's in your practice in that field that makes you a technocrat. Your practice, your experience, your results, your advancement in a particular thing that makes you a technocrat over a thing is not your certificate. We'll call for stakeholders meeting. Most times when they have meeting, they don't even bring in the drivers who are the PSPs. The people who are doing the job, they don't involve in most of their stakeholders meeting. For us to tell them, but they will bring somebody who has a PhD that has not been to a dump site before. The other time he went to a dump site was to stand somewhere and snap a picture and wear suit and tie because he's a PhD holder when it comes to environmental matters. It's true. That is the kind of country we find ourselves. So bring in the people that are into this job. We have a round table meeting. We tell you, it is for, like what she said in their Latin word, the health of one man is the health of all. The empowerment of the PSPs that are doing this job is an advancement of the environment and to the health of the people in Delta State. So we've been talking, by the grace of God, of late, because the rains have reduced, the rain has not been heavy, or it has given us a break, and the present new board chairman has been doing everything possible to ensure that we have access road. Because the first thing that discourages us here is access road. Then outside the access road, then the place to dump. No, the man has been doing his best to ensure that we have access road to put our waste and every other thing. But I know if we don't fight this thing, the rains that are coming in September, sir, the rains that are coming in September, even you will not be able to come for this, you and the environment when it starts falling. Because if you don't have a car, even if you have a car, this your road will be so flooded that you will say you will not be able to come for this program. So we should prepare ourselves. One thing about Nigerian government, we are never prepared. Only fire brigade. You see their office, CDC. First of all,
CDCR.
Okay, Center for Disease Control and Research.
And
research. You see their office. First of all, they are supposed to be collaborating with the National Orientation Agency. National Orientation Agency is supposed to be collaborating with them 5 and 6 because they are the one to carry the information out to people so that those people will be aware. And when issues are coming to their office, it will be minimal.
Okay. Just your one word for your advice for the people.
Advice for the people is that Lassa fever and cholera is not a death sentence. They are preventable diseases. Keep yourself clean, keep your home clean, keep your environment clean, so that all of us can live in good health. Because of a truth, health is wealth.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, madam, can we...
Finally, I just say that knowing the cause, let's all take responsibility and protect ourselves. For cholera, your water. And Madam mentioned boiling, but even if you can't boil, there's something they call water guard. If you take that and put a few drops in your water, it will kill most of the organisms. So it's cheaper than life. So even if you have to buy
cheaper than treatment.
Yes. So if you take a few drops of that and put in your water, it makes your water safe. So otherwise you just boil, and when you are not sure of the source of water. And then all over our environment, we have all this sachet water and all of that. And you remember in Lagos, there were issues about tiger nut drinks and all. My candid advice is, if you're not sure of the source, don't buy. All this on the wrapping, cellophane and all, you don't buy. Because ultimately, those people use water to process those things. And if their source water is contaminated, then that drink is a media, because it has sugar, it has everything. So everything will be growing and multiply inside it. So it's better during this season when you have this, don't drink any of those drinks, except you made it yourself. You are sure of the quality of water that you use.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Time is not our friend in this
program. I
program.
want to thank all of you for being here with us. Adeni Osawaru, the man I call AM. Is it the Sama of the UK? So you are welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Then Madam Esther Edafinene.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Ojimba Anastasia. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, viewer.
So, viewers at home, we thank you. We have come to the end of today's program, You and Your Environment. I remain your host, Gilbert Olye. Thank you so much, and God bless.